That sound is one of the most common sounds in modern life. A biscuit during work, a packet of chips while watching television, a protein bar after the gym, or maybe just one more cookie because it's sitting on the table. Now imagine trying to explain snacking to someone living 2000 years ago. They probably wouldn't understand because for most of human history, people simply didn't eat between meals. Not because they were dieting, not because they were fasting, because snacking simply wasn't part of everyday life. So, what changed? When did humans begin eating all day long? And what can history teach us about one of the biggest changes in the way we eat? Today, we are traveling back through history to uncover the forgotten story of how snacking became normal. Imagine walking through the streets of ancient Greece or ancient Rome, a traditional village in India, or the islands that would one day become the famous blue zones. Everywhere you look, people became hungry. Children became hungry. Farmers became hungry. Merchants became hungry. But something was missing. There was no supermarket, no vending machines, no convenience stores, no cupboards filled with biscuits, no shelves stacked with packets of chips. If someone felt hungry between breakfast and dinner, what happened? Usually nothing. Because eating again meant preparing food, grinding grain, lighting a fire, cooking from scratch. Food required effort, and effort made food valuable. Imagine a Greek farmer working beneath the afternoon sun. His stomach growls, but there is no shop on the corner, no packet to open, no quick snack to grab on the way. He simply continues working until the next meal. Not because he enjoyed being hungry, because that was simply how life worked. And ancient Greece wasn't unusual. As we will soon discover, history keeps repeating the same pattern again and again. For thousands of years, food followed a rhythm. People gathered to prepare meals. Families sat together. Children waited. Neighbors shared bread. Meals weren't interruptions to daily life, they were part of daily life. In ancient Rome, workers often carried simple meals to eat at regular times. In traditional villages across Asia, Africa, and Europe, families planned their day around breakfast, lunch, and dinner, not around constant snacking. When food took hours to grow, prepare, and cook, every meal meant something. Every loaf of bread represented months of someone's hard work. Every bowl of lentils began as a seed planted long before it reached the table. Perhaps that's why food wasn't treated as entertainment. It was treated with respect. But if this pattern appeared across so many civilizations, what changed? The answer begins surprisingly recently in human history. For thousands of years, life moved at a different pace. Food was seasonal. Meals required planning. Cooking required time. And hunger was simply part of everyday life. Then something extraordinary happened. Not all at once, but little by little, the world began to change. The Industrial Revolution, factories, railways, modern transportation, food preservation, refrigeration. Suddenly, food became easier to produce, easier to transport, easier to store, and easier to eat at almost any point. A cupboard that once held flour, rice, and lentils now also held packets, boxes, biscuits, crackers, snacks. For the first time in history, millions of people could eat without preparing a meal. Not because they were hungry, simply because the food was there. And slowly, without anyone really noticing, snacking became normal. Something else changed without many of us realizing it. For thousands of years, Meals had clear beginnings and clear endings. Families cooked together, sat together, ate together, then life continued. Today, food often follows us everywhere while watching television, while working, while driving, while scrolling on our phone. Eating slowly became less connected to hunger and more connected to convenience. History isn't telling us that every snack is bad, nor is it saying our ancestors were perfect. History is simply showing us how dramatically our relationship with food has changed. Perhaps the biggest difference isn't what we eat, it's how often we think about eating. And maybe that's one of the quietest changes modern life has ever made. So, what is history really trying to tell us? Not that every snack is unhealthy, not that our ancestors had perfect diets. History is rarely that simple, but when civilizations separated by oceans, different languages, different religions, and thousands of years keep following similar patterns, perhaps it's worth paying attention. Maybe the biggest lesson isn't about food itself, it's about how people related to food. Meals had a beginning, meals had an ending, and life continued between them. Perhaps that's one of history's quietest lessons. The next time you reach for a snack, take just a moment to ask yourself, am I truly hungry or simply eating because the food is there? History doesn't always gives you answers. Sometimes it simply asks better questions. And perhaps that's why the oldest lessons still matter today. Now I am curious. What's the most common snack in your home? Biscuits, chips, fruit, nuts, or do you rarely snack at all? Tell me in the comments and don't forget to tell me where you are watching from. I would love to know how food traditions differ around the world. In our next journey through the history of longevity, we will leave the dining table behind and step into the night because for most of history, people didn't always sleep the way we do today. Many woke up in the middle of the night not because they had insomnia, because it was completely normal. Why? We will uncover that forgotten mystery next time. Until then, remember, sometimes the future of health is hidden in the lessons of history.